broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers. Welcome to another Shadowhunters after show here at AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm your host, Sam Davidson. If you guys haven't done so already, please go on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, rate, review, subscribe. We love hearing your feedback. Your YouTube comments are pretty much genius, as are your tweets, so please keep them coming. I have a full panel with me here today. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves? Let us know where we can find you on Twitter.
Hello guys, my name is Dakota T Jones, and you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, anything like that, at Mr. Dakota T Jones.
I'm Becca, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Becca B Talks TV.
Hello, I'm Erin Lane. You can find me on the interweb and the Instagram at Always Eat Your Cake, and please do always eat your cake, and on Twitter and Snapchat at Love Erin Lane.
And guys, you can find me, Sam Davidson, at SamD43 on Twitter and Instagram, and AfterBuzz TV at AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms. Today, we are going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 3, Dead Man's Party, and we have Becca on the live chat again, so please continue to contribute, guys. We love it. So we start off this episode where I just keep on calling them the group, which means Izzy, Alec, Jace, Clary, sometimes Simon. Mm-hmm. So all of those people, minus Simon, are trying to figure out how to save Simon. And at first, they're not taking it very seriously. Clary gets pissed, says she'll go do it herself, and then, Jace says, you could get killed, or Simon could get killed, and then she stops.
Yeah.
Apparently she's forgotten about her mom this episode.
It's like a one
heard
track.
nothing about.
We heard nothing about the mom this time. It's all about Simon.
I feel like it goes
about
like that in the show, though. It's all one track mind, whatever is happening right now.
But I like how they keep it simple for, just concentrate on one thing.
Yeah.
Because the show has a lot to pay attention to.
That's a good point.
Pay close attention to understand.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a given. We know that Clary wants to find her mom. We just kind of focus on what is in the immediate near future danger,
right?
Which is Simon.
Right.
And so Simon, the group decides that they're not going to contact the Clave, which is what they would normally do under these circumstances, and do it on their own. And then we see Simon in the vampires. What are we going to call this place?
I like to call it a lair, because that seems like where they would be. It's really it's Hotel Dufour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that sounds way less cool than the vampire's lair.
Yeah, because it's like, a crypt. Oh, that's the word I was trying to think. Because
Can you live in a crypt? I don't think you can live in a crypt. I think that's where... Do you remember the Tales of the Crypt show from when we were 4, and it was we're skeletons and
well, but they're vampires. It looked like a crypt to me. The crypt, the lair, whatever. Simon's down there and he's being really dumb. Rules of vampires, don't try to throw a knife at a vampire.
Right. I mean, haven't we learned our lesson from the Twilight series that these people are not easy to kill?
Totally. You would think he had seen the movies, but I was
obviously not
ridiculously impressed by his throwing accuracy.
Yeah.
Why does he know how to do that?
I don't know. I'm continuously impressed by
it's
Simon.
TV show magic.
Yeah.
But I think that might have... Is that going to be a thing that comes out later? Because normal people can't just pick a knife up and chuck it straight into a guy.
Yeah.
No.
I noticed... I was really excited, and I know someone from the live chat had just said that they really hope they see more of Raphael. Mm-hmm. And I think that was a very good addition to, we finally get to know a little bit more about him. He's not just this random vampire holding Simon over a bridge anymore. We actually kind of know who he is. But his reaction whenever he, saw he'd been stabbed, he, pulled the knife away and he's like, man, this is my new jacket. He wasn't even worried that he'd been impaled. He was just worried about the jacket.
Yeah, I really liked the vampire edition. Yeah. They were really cool and really, they added some sexy stuff.
They
to this
did.
episode.
Which we'll get into.
You're like getting on my train now. I don't know what's gotten into me, but I've been talking to everybody before the show about how happy I am about all the like sensuality happening on this episode.
Very steamy.
It makes me feel kind
Sensuality.
of creepy, but I love it.
Well, I have my feelings, which I will share with you in a little as well. So basically, we also get introduced not only to Raphael but to Camille. Is that, or
Yes,
Camille,
super sexy vampire.
who probably like went out for the role of Isabel as well.
Probably.
Probably, yeah, I could see that.
She's tall, beautiful, thin, like walks just like Isabel does, like with such grace. And she, like, I was not expecting to see her in the show. Like, I really wasn't. And then all of a sudden she just comes in and like what was about to unfold between her and Simon, I was not ready for.
Yeah, and I really liked it because, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I don't remember that being in the book at all. I'm powering through. I'm at the end of the third book, but that scene between the two of them was an awesome addition. I loved it.
Me too.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm really feisty today. I don't know why.
I have a question for you guys, though. So we get a quick snippet of that scene, with Simon and the vampires. And then we get to Jace and Izzy and Alec in the graveyard looking for weapons. They open Mary Mulligan's grave. I was just kind of confused about that whole situation. Could you clear it up at all?
I was very interested to see that because it was just weird. Like, okay, you're going into a grave and she's like, why are we searching for this person's body? And they weren't even in the casket. They just like pulled out like all these weapons. And I'm like, that's something that is very, very cool to see. Like, they're taking something that we would think, oh, it's just a grave, and like stashing weapons and secrets in there. And that was really cool.
It was. I wish they kind of went more in depth about describing what the heck they were doing, though, because they kind of briefly were like, yeah, Mary Mulligan, it's where the weapons are, and then that was it. We never really got...
I feel like there's a huge time constraint on what they can
there is.
explain
Yeah.
in depth.
World building is really easy to do well in a book,
books.
but it's really
Right.
difficult to do well in a show.
Yes.
So I think the writing, at least for me, in the third episode is getting smarter than it was in maybe the first two, and I like seeing that evolution.
Yeah.
I agree. I also need to say something about this scene, which we were talking about earlier. I think sex is on the mind for all of us today.
Well.
Oh, yeah.
But that scene where Jace is teaching Clary how to use the sword was just so phallic. And I think I can say that. It was just pretty, clear. Maybe it's just because I'm an adult and I have a dirty mind, but I'm like, this is so dirty the way he's teaching her.
Oh, no. I think that no matter who you are, you got that. I mean, it was... There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Like, it was all sexual up in there.
Yeah.
It was...
Even to the point where, they thrust the sword. Can we start that right now on the live chat? Hashtag thrusting.
Hashtag thrust the sword is the dirtiest hashtag I have
Pretty much
ever heard, and I like it a lot.
Oh, and someone, Fantasy Stats Guru, is telling us that we are very feisty.
I know, it's this episode. I think this episode was so
very
flirtatious and sensual
Yes.
that we all just watched it. So.
No, and before that sword scene, I was still kind of like wanting Clary and Simon to happen more than Clary and Jace, and
that was a big
that
moment.
kind of made me
Team
Clary and
Jaleria.
Jace. What's their ship name, guys?
I just made that up, Jalery, but
Hashtag Jalery.
Yeah.
or Clace.
Clace. I like Clace.
I
That
do
sounds
too.
like Ace.
So, you guys chime in on the live chat and let us know what you think their ship name should be. We
Yes.
want to come up with something really good.
Yes.
And speaking of Jace, there was a small scene at the beginning of the episode with him and Alec said something so terrible to him. He said, "What, are you so desperate to get laid that you would risk killing us?"
Yeah. That was a big...
Wow.
Yeah. I was interested to see that because they are so, what do they call it?
Parabatai.
Yeah, they're so in sync with each other. They don't really have many problems, and you can see this is the moment where Alec is kind of, in his mind, he's thinking we're not on the same page. I think that also goes to show that he may have some feelings for Jace, which I thought might exist but didn't really know to the extent until this episode. And in this episode you can see it unfold. It's very, very clear, his feelings.
Yeah, we knew he was kind of jealous of Claire, maybe.
I think there's some
stealing
layers.
Alec's attention.
Yeah, I definitely think there's some layers going on there. There's both the, this is a dangerous situation, they're breaking laws, they're doing things they shouldn't do, but it's also, he has those feelings for Jace, it seems like.
And I also don't think that Alec really trusts Clary completely just because of the whole Valentine thing.
Yes,
Which is
but
valid.
we will get into this in the end because I really want to talk about what ends up happening between Alec and Clary towards the end. So we'll definitely get big into that. Next, we have Izzy going to see her Sealy man, whose name is, and I still can't, I'm having such a hard time. Meliorn. Wait, I keep wanting to say Merlin.
Marilyn.
Meliorn, who is
just change the name.
A creature that is half angel.
Now fairies are half
angel, half demon.
Right.
Yeah, so they're like half not naughty. God, I can't think of better words today.
Yeah.
Half naughty, half I can't.
Nice.
Someone else take this.
Demons are okay, so it's half demon, half angel, whatever. Fairy. Yeah. They explain it, or I keep
anything that is a fairy, a pixie, like I think they said elves or dwarves. Anything like that is considered a. I have it written down. Sealy.
When I see him, I just see an elf. I don't know.
They're all
the
part
ears.
of the fair
Because the
folk.
ears.
And one thing that we see in that scene too is that the fair folk, all of them can't lie.
Ooh, I love that. That's
I
so
need a
cool.
Sealy in my life. I'm tired of these people lying. I need to know.
But this is the thing,
Right?
and they don't go into it right now. I'm sure they'll go into it later. In the books that I just read 3 of them that aren't like the show at all. But in the books, they say that they're really tricky. Like they'll purposely deceive you and lead you down the wrong path, and they'll kind of mess with your mind. And that's kind of the tricky side of this truth-telling thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can evade, and he is very interested in, now it's public knowledge that the girl, Valentine's daughter, exists and is out there, and they need to find the cup. And it's kind of confusing to me that all of these factions, everyone wants the same thing. So why are we fighting if everyone just wants Valentine gone and to not have the cup?
Instead of like fighting against each other and like having all this time, they could have been like banding together and going after Valentine.
Well, that's something I actually really like on the show because a lot of times it seems kind of surface layer and fluffy and just entertainment, but I think that they're actually kind of, with this writing, tackling certain social issues. Everyone, even all these different groups want the same outcome, but they just can't work together because they're so prejudiced.
I feel like it's kind of like a spider web going on. Like it's very intertwined.
They're not used to working together. They're used to having their 2 separate groups.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like say this is like Twilight is, but you know how like the werewolves and the vampires, it took them a long time to work together, and then after a while they're like, look, if we're gonna overcome, we gotta like work together. I feel like that's gonna happen in this show.
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of see that. So Izzy is with what is wrong? Sometimes you just can't say words. Meliorn. She's with him. They're having sex. They have a very sexy, steamy scene. She is so beautiful. In the books, Meliorn, I think, is described as like a little sexier.
So much sexier. I was really excited for her to go see him because I was thinking he was going to be this very handsome addition, in addition to all the other beautiful folk on this show. And he looked a little less desirable to me.
What do you think, Becca?
I mean, well, someone on the chat definitely agreed with you and said that earlier, but I don't know.
Becca wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I'm just saying it wouldn't be my top choice.
I don't mind the casting.
Do the ears run it for you?
Just wouldn't be my top
Did the
choice.
ears run it for you?
The ears just like, as I said, I just think about an elf.
I kind of
or
like the
a
ears.
leprechaun.
It's something else. I think it's the slicked back long hair thing.
Greasy.
The combo of that, I don't know. But basically, we know that Izzy uses her sexuality
to get
what she wants. But
yeah.
I think she's underestimated a lot, that she's not that smart. But really, what she does in this scene is very smart. She specifically goes there to seduce him because she knows he's having a fling with the vampire Camille.
Yeah.
And after they hook up, she talks about wanting to be monogamous. And it's just really funny because I don't think that is what she wants at all.
No.
But so then she starts asking about Camille, saying, A, how is it that you two are hooking up? You hate each other.
Yeah.
And B, how are you able to get in? You know, where do you do it? And he says sometimes that hotel. What is it called? The hotel?
I just said it earlier.
Yeah, you did.
Demore.
The Hotel
yeah.
Demore. And then she asks how he gets in. And
She says you can't necessarily just walk through the front doors because you are not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she definitely takes advantage of the fact that he can't lie to her as much as he wants to evade. If she poses that direct question to him, he has to answer.
And it's very clear, like, their relationship is just basically, I'll give you information if you give me information if we mingle.
And then we'll do this in between.
Yeah.
And it's, even when she asks him when she first comes in, are you excited? Are you happy to see me? You know, and he's like, of course I am.
Yeah.
They like each other, but there's something bigger in play.
Yeah.
Right.
She's gorgeous.
Yes, she absolutely is gorgeous. And after that scene, we then go to the biker bar.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
The vampire biker bar. Vamp specific. They go, it's Jason Clary, and everyone looks like they're making out.
Very, very confused at first as to why Jace wanted to take her there.
Me too. It took
Yeah.
third watch for me to be like, I understand putting all these pieces together. Not like Jace couldn't have gotten a motorcycle somewhere else, but I don't know. So they go in, and I think he wants to teach Clary that look at what these creatures can do.
Right, I think so too.
Yeah, so he tells Clary to go and start flirting with a guy about his bike, which was hilarious.
Oh no, that was fantastic.
I love that scene. Well, I love too that when Jace tells her, I bet you can't resist his charm, she laughs at him like that's a ridiculous concept. And then he
like does this little hand.
glamours her, at least that's what they call it in True Blood. He glamours her so fast and she just falls right into it.
Right. I was like, what are you doing? Get off the bike. Like he got really close to her neck and I'm like, he's gonna bite her.
No, I was probably literally watching that scene like.
And Jace was looking like this. He was like,
yeah.
And I'm like, do something, please. Don't.
He's just waiting.
He's like, when are you gonna like step in?
Yeah, and he finally did. And Clary, you know, was like, no, leave me alone. She just wanted to, you know, be there, but he told her to stay by the bike, which she did. And then next thing you know, he beats the vamp up and hops on the bike. And while he's beating him up, he is able to like grab his keys.
I know. I was like, oh, that's convenient.
Yeah. They get on the bike and then they fly away.
I love it.
I want one of those bikes.
Yeah, well, in the books, the bikes are Jace's like prized possession. He steals one of them in I think the second book from a party at Magnus Bane's, and then it gets stolen, and then he gets another one, and it just be every time his bike gets stolen, he's so sad.
Yeah. Tina was saying that the motorcycles runs on demon juice. That's something I didn't really know.
Ooh.
Yeah, on demon
that's
energies.
That's very
that's
interesting. So I
not
guess
know as
that's the reason it's able to go so fast and like.
And
so
fly.
maybe I guess that's why they went in there to the vampire club.
Yeah, and
Or
the
bar.
thing about those too, they didn't touch on it yet, but because they run on demon energies, and obviously because they're vampires, motorcycles, they can't run during the day.
Oh.
Oh,
Nighttime only.
Nighttime
that's
only.
pretty cool though.
Yeah, and it was a
Makes
cool
it
scene because it's like Jace is making himself a figure in Clary's life. No matter what happens, he's the first person that taught her how to use that sword. A sword in general.
Hashtag.
You know, he's the first. He takes her on this amazing experience, flying on this motorcycle, and her mind is blown. No matter what happens between them, which we know something's going to happen, he is always and forever now going to be like someone she will never forget.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think he wants to build that trust in this episode more than anything, and teach her to protect herself.
Something, yeah. I think honestly, he's probably trying to make up for the fact that she's so into saving Simon right now. I think whether he thinks he has feelings or not, he's a little jealous of the attention that she's giving to Simon. I want to find Simon. I want to find Simon.
I agree.
And he finds a way to slow her down and like, look, I am going to show you.
Don't
how
do
to
the
use this.
sword thrusting. I can't take it.
Or like, look, you can't just go in and save Simon without knowing how to go about it.
Totally agree. I also liked Clary so much more in this episode. I don't know about you guys, but she's finally seeming like she's coming into that strength that I was kind of talking about in the first episode. And I actually like her better in this episode than I ever liked her in the books. So I'm so happy that that character development is happening.
Me too. That's a really great point. I want to touch on something really quickly. It was a short scene, but I want to hear your guys' opinion. Hodge and Alec. What was that scene, and is there a reason that scene happened? It was very brief. They were in the Institute.
Right.
And Alec was stealing something.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't supposed to be. Was Hodge flirting with him? I was very confused.
That was confusing. I think... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I was thinking, like, when I first saw that, I didn't really know what was happening, and then I watched the episode over again, and I caught that Hodge was definitely picking up on the fact that Alec always feels less than Jace. I think that Hodge, somewhere in his past, probably felt lesser than someone, like a brother figure or something, and so I think he's trying to tell him, look, you can be your own person, you can do your own things, and you do not have to live in someone's shadow. That plants a seed in Alec's mind, and he is having a hard time with that. I don't know, something weird that's happening with Hodge, yeah.
In my opinion, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I keep always trying to hide things that happen in the books, but it doesn't matter because the show is different anyway. The person that Hodge felt inferior to was Valentine. That was like his best friend who always, was the light of the party, and he was the guy that everyone followed, and Hodge was kind of this follower. And he's super resentful still, and I think that he has maybe some ulterior motives going on here. He's a little selfish, and I totally agree with you. He's planting that seed in Alec to be the person that kind of steps away from all of this and looks at it from a more skeptical point of view.
All I have to say is that Hodge is insanely creepy to me.
Yeah, I want to know. I feel like he still has a dark side to him for sure. I feel like he wants to screw something up for them, and I don't know exactly what it is, but he's definitely not being completely on the good side.
Oh yeah, I don't trust him.
Well, I actually just started the books, and I'm midway through the first book, and Hodge is already a very, very big character. So we'll see what happens. Let us know what you guys think in the chat. Let's talk about Simon and Camille's sexy scenes.
Oh man.
What is this, sexy scene number 5 or something?
Number 500?
Of this episode?
I'm so happy. I love that Freeform's doing this. I've told you guys before that it drives me crazy in these books sometimes because there's so much buildup with all of this sexual tension and flirtation, and nothing ever happens. And I was wondering if the show was going to be like that. And not to sound creepy, but I'm so happy that it's not. I loved that scene, and I liked the way that they played it out too. It was somehow not too scandalous. It was kind of almost weirdly romantic, even though it's not.
Even though she obviously doesn't really like him. She's just, and that's something. Yeah, that's something interesting. Is like the vampires. It's a process for them to change someone over to a vampire. It's not just like a one step. I bite you. That's it. It's like you have to do all these things, and there's steps, and it takes time. That's something very cool that I think is a very neat twist on vampires.
Yeah,
I like it too.
Let's talk about that. So she bites him, then Simon bites her,
but licks her neck.
But he looked like then he did a little nibble.
So, and when Jace talks, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, that is, you need to be bitten, then bite, and then he said there's more. Yeah. I mean, I love the Vampire Diaries, so I always go by their rules. You need to drink vampire blood, die.
Get buried?
No, that's True Blood.
Okay, that's my vampire rules.
There's a lot of vampire rules.
And then once you die, you wake up with vamp blood in your system, and then you have to feed on a human, and then you're full transition.
Wow, it's a process.
Yeah, so it's something not that, but similar. So yeah, Simon and Camille are having it, and Simon is enjoying himself because, like Jace explains it, it's as though you're high and you fall in love with whoever bit you.
Yeah.
Right.
No, Simon's lines and reactions throughout that whole scene were just cracking me up.
Oh yeah, when she asks if he's okay, and then he goes, "I'm a little lighthearted."
Lightheaded.
Lighthearted.
Oh my gosh. That's why I love Simon.
And I love seeing him because he's so sweet and funny.
Yeah,
and he
he's
was all
adorable.
taking charge and biting and licking and
I was like, whoa,
all the
who
good
is
stuff.
this new Simon?
I know. I'm like, Simon's gonna get it. Like, he has so many women all of a sudden, and now he's going to be having more. We know.
Yeah.
So
Simon's just a player right now.
Hey.
So this is a thing I'm curious about. You know, when she pours the Bloody Marys that are obviously made with actual blood, she says, secret home recipe, and they're super thick and bloody looking, but when they cut back and then they show them, they pull out wide, they show 2 glasses, and both of them are drained down as if they had both been drank.
Right.
So I'm wondering whose blood is in that, and if Simon actually drank it. Is it full of vampire blood? Is that how she got a bunch of it into him?
I think so.
Okay.
But I don't know whose blood. Like, I don't know why she would drink her own blood. Maybe hers was something else.
He had it like half drank.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could see it wearing off though once she was on the phone and all that kind of stuff. He was kind of like, oh my gosh, where am I? What am I doing? And you could see it was kind of wearing off.
So what's going on while that scene is happening is Alec and Izzy break into the hotel. And I love that scene because it really builds them as brother and sister.
Yeah.
They're a team.
They are, even if they don't want to be.
Yeah.
You know, they have this back and forth where Izzy says, you know, I like being the distraction. Alec says he hates it.
Yeah. They get in arguments all the time, but like at the end of the day, they know that they're good for each other and they can help each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, one more sexual innuendo we just need to throw in is
Somewhere.
you have fairy dust all over your dress.
Oh my gosh.
So it took me a minute when I
Which
first
Dakota? No.
watched it. I was like, oh yeah, sure, fairy dust. And then I sat and I thought about it. I'm like, where did the fairy dust come from? Like, what part of the body did the fairy dust come from? And I'm not even going to talk about on air where I think it came from, but I'm going to go with my dirty tray to fly here.
Hey guys, they put it out there for a reason. It's not like they're like, ooh, sparkles. Like, and we're just going to go, okay, sparkles.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is something that could not have been said when Freeform was still ABC Family.
Yeah.
You think?
They took the family out of ABC, I'll tell you that right now,
Yeah.
folks.
And it's awesome. I love it.
It is. It's really great. That was fun, and we get to see the vampires, you know, they see them, and then they slam a door, and then, you know, the two of them they're like, you ready for this? Are you ready? They let the vampires in. Izzy has her snake thing that's around her arm that she lets...
Whips.
Oh,
Her whip, yeah.
Her whip, and Alec is a master bow and arrow, and they just take them down so fast.
That scene, I was just like clapping watching it.
That was
Go
very
team.
cool
Go
battle scene
team.
for sure. Alec, I didn't know he was like such a good archer. Like, it's really awesome.
Yeah, they kind of
Yeah.
downplay Alec in the warrior sense a little bit,
Yeah.
and so it was great to actually see him come through with that.
But he's good on the battlefield. He knows what he's doing. He's not like
Oh, yeah.
some little guy that's
Yeah.
like behind his brother's shadow.
And I'm very glad that they did this in the show. In the books, they say Jace actually makes a comment one day that Alec has never killed a demon, which isn't to say he's never killed a downworlder, but I don't think they're going that direction here at all because he looked like he knew what he was doing out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see more of those scenes. Let us know if you guys agree. Meanwhile, then we have Jace and Clary also breaking in to the hotel. And it's really fun and interesting to see them together, to see them working together. And after they break in, let's see. She uses the sword for the first time, really, and kills someone.
Yes.
Clary does.
These swords.
Isn't that the second time though? Because she did accidentally, but
At
kill
the- at
someone at
Pandemonium.
Pandemonium. Yeah,
Yes.
but this was her first time really like, I don't want to make the gesture again, but really like getting someone like dead.
Yeah, she's becoming kind of a real Shadowhunter, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's really cute to see Izzy and Jace be proud of her.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they end up meeting during this battle with Jace and Clary, and the guy from the biker bar is there, and there's that whole thing. It's really funny again, and I just love that. And I don't know why I loved the way he glamored. Or what's the word they use
it's
now?
In Canto?
don't-
It's in Canto.
In Canto,
Yeah.
okay.
I wrote that down. Are you talking about like how
This-
this hand motion?
Yes.
Yes, in Canto.
So the vampires now know that the Shadowhunters are in the building, and Raphael tells Camille to leave because she's too valuable. I don't really know what that means exactly,
Yeah.
but he'll take care of Simon, aka kill him.
Camille, at least, so there's kind of pods of vampires, and everyone has a leader, and she's the leader of their particular pod.
Okay, so I guess that's why she's so valuable. So she leaves, and Raphael has Simon, and he has a knife to his neck. Then everyone else, Clary, Jace, Alec, Izzy, they all enter. They see Simon, and Raphael does something really interesting. You know, he's like,
Yeah.
get out, go. And he follows them with a knife to Simon's neck, and then he says, you need to leave him or else I'll kill him right here. I'll kill all of you. And then he just lets Simon go.
I was like, what?
And I just want to say that I like how you like said something about group at the beginning, like you like their group, their squad goals.
Ah,
Definitely all the
Hashtag
way.
squad goals.
Yeah.
Hashtag squad goals.
thank
Yeah.
you, Taylor Swift.
Love it. Yeah, basically.
That was very interesting, though. I was wondering, what is he going to do? Why is he leading them out this doorway? I thought they were just going to keep Simon. It's showing that Raphael is definitely going against what Camille wants.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some tension between them once she finds out that he potentially let Simon go.
Yeah.
But I think Raphael is trying to make amends with what Camille has already damaged with the relationships between the Shadowhunters and the vampires. I think that it's like, I know Jace said in the beginning of the episodes, or the episode that the vamps broke the accord, and that's a big no-no.
By taking a human.
Right. So I think Raphael's definitely trying to backtrack and be like, here he is, he's fine, sorry about it, let's forget about it.
I also think that he sees this greater danger in Valentine. He is kind of on the train of, why don't we all work together somehow? That's why he says at the end, remember who your friends are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that was very interesting.
I think he's seeing that his best chance of having, keeping Valentine from having the cup is to actually work with Jace and Clary and be a little more on their side.
Mm-hmm. It was very smart for him to say to Jace, remember who your friends are. And then I'm like, well, are you our friend? Now, I feel like I'm part of the group.
Yeah.
I'm part of the squad. They get out, and I just thought it was a really funny tidbit. They're just chilling on the roof, kind of like taking a breath, and Simon's like, come on, we gotta go. And Jace says something like, I thought you watched these movies. Like, they can't go get fried.
Yeah.
And then
Apparently not.
I thought about the same thing, though. I was like, oh, I guess they're right. But if they don't have daylight rings or whatever it is that, these vampires really can't go in the sun.
So they can chill out and have a party on top of the roof, and they can't do anything.
I also want to point out, I think it got light outside really fast.
Yeah. I mean, they had mentioned, hey, it's going to be light outside soon, and when they went into the hotel. But yeah, when they came out, it was like midday, like,
I was like,
2 o'clock in the
okay.
afternoon type of lighting happening.
I wasn't expecting that. Maybe like a sunrise.
It definitely wasn't dawn lighting.
Yeah, it was like midday. Yeah, but,
Hey, you gotta shoot when you gotta shoot.
TV show.
Gotta do what you gotta do. And, they're all out there, and immediately Clary runs to Simon, and it sounds like she's gonna be like, I love you. I just realized after losing you, like, I love you. And that's what Simon thinks she's saying at first, but it's not. It's just like, you're my best friend, and I need you, basically, because I have nobody else.
And that catches Jace's attention as well.
Yes.
The whole
She
interaction
made
going
the
on.
mistake of poor Simon kissing his cheek. That's just gonna. He's already had enough action for one day. Like, give him a rest.
Hopelessly in love.
Don't lead him on. I know she's not trying to, but that interaction right there, I was like, oh no, he's gonna take that the wrong way.
And
definitely.
It's clear that she really is genuinely oblivious to this. It's not
she
malicious.
She really cares for him as a friend.
Yeah.
Well, she compared him earlier in the episode to being a parabatai. She said, you and Alec are parabatai, so now you understand me and Simon.
Yeah.
So
and Jace took that moment like, oh wow, I didn't think of it like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And meanwhile, Jace is having another conversation with Alec, in which Alec again is saying how much he doesn't like Clary, doesn't trust her, and Jace like yells at him. And he said, I don't care if you don't trust her. That's fine as long as you trust me. But why did you save her today? Because Alec saved her when they were with the vampires earlier, with the bow and arrow. So I think that's a good point, because Clary could have died, and because of Alex, she didn't.
Yeah, his problem could have been solved, but he's just not that kind of person, I don't think either. He cares in the same way that Jace cares about Simon because Clary cares about Simon.
Exactly.
Alec cares about Clary because Jace cares about Clary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone just said, hashtag friend zone, and I put hashtag friend zone is my life.
And then Tina said that he is her Jacob, and I like that Twilight reference.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think about that
Definitely,
all the time.
though.
Absolutely. Then we end with a love triangle, because Clary hears Jace yell at Alec, and then he's looking down and kind of seeing Clary and Simon embrace.
Yes.
And it's like, ooh, what do I do? Again.
Yeah.
And then we end the episode. So before we get into predictions, we have updated our love octagon a little bit.
And also, real quickly, I want to say there's a lot of people watching internationally.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for
watching. A bunch of different countries, continents. And thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, Peru, Greece. There was like Estonia or something. Wow. I don't know where that is.
Thank you guys so much for watching,
But yeah, thank you all so much for watching and tuning in.
Yeah.
So we have this love octagon. However, we created a separate love triangle because we are unsure of the other 3 parts of the octagon. But so this love triangle on the side is just for fun. I think we'll end up moving it into the octagon with other people. But we have Jocelyn, Luke and Valentine. But here, again, of course, we have Clary and Jace. Jace is connected to Alec, and then Magnus, who is going to be coming back soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we've seen some cool previews with him and Alec.
Love him. He's my favorite character, and I'm very happy to have him on this octagon.
Oh, yes.
And then I think we're going to kill Maureen.
Aw.
Maureen's going to die, and we're going to replace Maureen with
Next week with
sexy vampires.
The vampires.
Camille, right?
Yes.
Yes,
and
we're gonna.
Yes.
So rest in peace. She's not dead, but like
She's not actually dead. Just
she's
to
just not
clarify.
gonna be on our board because I don't think she's gonna be a big
I
part in
don't
the
think
story.
so either. I think she's dead to the shipping. I think she.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what
At
about
this
this
point.
werewolf character people have been talking about, Maya?
Maya, she'll definitely be in the show. There's no way they could leave her out. She's a really important part of the books. She doesn't come in until later, but they're introducing people so quickly.
Very quick.
Right, she'll
So,
be here soon.
I have
it's
a feeling
it's
we'll-
gonna be a werewolf.
She's a werewolf girl
Ooh.
who has an interest in Simon, but there's a twist that comes in there that makes their relationship very difficult.
Okay.
Interesting.
For being the nerdy friend, he's definitely getting a lot of love interests.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Simon-
he's
yeah.
getting the most love interest out of everyone on this show right
He
now.
is. And something I forgot to mention briefly at the end is a very quick moment. We see Simon looking at Clary's neck, her veins, as they're pulsing.
Yeah.
And so is Simon going through transition to be a vampire? Even if we've read the books, we don't know. They could totally be taking
Yeah,
this
they could change it.
in a
Yeah.
different direction because
That-
it looked like he was thirsting.
That was my
Yeah.
prediction. Was that Simon would join
The vamps.
the Night Children?
The Vamps.
I still think
Not the
he's,
band.
Not the band.
You never know. He is in a band. I still think Simon's going to become one of the Night Children. I think that is, at least where I am in the books, is such a key part of everything. It's
Yeah.
very integral to what happens. So, and he becomes a kind of a special vampire too. So I really hope that happens in here.
Cool. And before we get into predictions, we want to start something really fun to do every week.
Yes.
Use the hashtag ABTV Steamy Scene and tell us what your favorite steamy scene was.
What is your
There
favorite?
are a lot.
Just real quick, let's go through. Which scene was your favorite steamy scene?
Simon and Camille.
Okay.
I liked the sword thrusting.
Oh my gosh.
I was gonna say the sword thrusting as well.
We have to call it
definitely.
something else.
I have to say, definitely between Camille and Simon. I think that was just very interesting. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, me too. Well, let us know what you guys think. And on that note, let's get into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right. Who wants to start us off?
You, Dakota.
Okay, I've been waiting
Because
for
you
this.
asked.
Okay, so we have someone from the from our comments from last week's episode. I thought this was very cool. I didn't ever think of this. I don't know if it's actually going to happen or not. But Joseph Weston, who is one of our viewers, told us, I think that the pendant around Clary's neck is the cup that they're looking for. Maybe her mom put it in pendant form. I didn't think about that. Do you think that's a possibility, or is that just me?
It totally depends on how closely they want to follow the books. If they want to go a totally different direction, then
Yeah.
absolutely. If they want to stay a little more true, then I think we got a hint in the very first episode in that one
Yes.
scene with Dot.
The card.
Yeah, the card.
Yes,
And
that's
in
what
the book,
I saw.
I'm there so
As well.
far that it is in the card. That's
Yeah.
where the cup is.
Oh, like it's
tarot
tracked
card.
Yes.
into the tarot card? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
That's what I read on Twitter, actually.
I think
the
this
first
would be a cool way to go with it, though.
It would, and
Because it
they're-
would be around her neck the whole time.
They're changing
That'd
a
be
lot.
interesting.
So there's really no
Oh,
telling
I
what
like
they're
that
going
they're
to do.
changing it.
Yeah.
I do too.
Very, very cool.
Any other predictions?
Ooh.
Do you want to go first, Erin?
Yeah.
This is kind of less of a prediction of what's really going to happen in the next episode, and more that. So I'm in the third book right now, and part of what drives me crazy, that probably everybody knows, you can just Google it and find out, is that it ends up that Clary and Jace think they're brother and sister, and it's a
gosh.
weird storyline. And I think that the show is going to create something totally different with
Yeah.
it and completely circumvent that. And I'm not sure what that is. This is a terrible prediction, but I think that we're going to go a totally different direction, and we won't have to worry about the awkward brother-sister relationship.
All right.
Except for, ABC Family, which is now Freeform in the past, has been known for that and other shows, kind of.
Really?
The Fosters.
Yeah, but those are really, they think they full
Yeah.
on in the book think that they're blood related. They're
yeah,
not,
yeah.
but they think they are.
Also, like with Pretty Little Liars with Charlotte and
Jason. Oh,
Jason. I think that they have some weird thing going on with brother and sister.
Okay, so maybe I'm wrong, and maybe we will go down this road.
I think it's gonna happen.
Maybe. Yeah, no, I think that
I
there's
hate it.
a possibility.
I hate it too.
But
It's like not everyone's related, but in
But
these
it'd be
type of
nice.
shows, it's like, oh, you're so-and-so's sister and great aunt.
in the
Yeah.
show or in the books, poor Clary makes out with 2 people she thinks are her brother. One is, one's not.
Oh.
But
Oh,
she
Lord.
has her mouth on all sorts of brother figures.
Oh my gosh.
Oh dear.
I think it's just insane that these TV characters get into relationships so quickly. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
they get in,
how?
they get out, yeah.
Like,
I
what book are you reading? Like, to help you out with
I think
relationships?
One more prediction that I have. I think that in the next episode, we are going to see Alec finally admitting to Jace maybe the feelings that he has. I feel like that's definitely coming up. We see the tension in the very last scene of what's happening whenever Jace is looking at Clary and Simon's interaction. You can see he gets mad, he kind of snaps and says something to Jace, and it ends on them yelling at each other. I think it's finally going to boil over and they're finally going to have to talk about the situation before them.
I hope so. I hope you're right. I think that it would be really good for Alec.
Yeah, I could see maybe a parallel conversation happening between Alec and Jace and then Clary and Simon and kind of having to break both of their hearts for Jace and Clary to come together. I think that Simon's just gonna become a pimp. Like,
He's on that
already
road.
or a vamp pimp. I think Simon is not going to stay human for long.
I totally agree
Because
with
I
you.
know in the books he was turned into a mouse or something, right?
he was only temporarily a rat.
Okay, a rat.
But only
Same
for
thing.
24 hours. He's fine.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna stay human for long. I think that Clary and Jace were singing it episode 5. Gotta see a kiss.
It's gotta happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
It's bound to happen.
that's what I'm hoping. And we can't tell you exactly who yet, but we will be having a very special guest
Yes.
on next week on our after show. It might even be 2, so we will keep you posted, and we might have a special afterwards. Next week is going to be very, very exciting
Yes.
regardless, so
Yes.
please tune in, ask us questions.
and
Hopefully-
keep up with us on Twitter, and we'll tell you.
Yes,
Yeah.
Everything.
and don't forget to use the hashtag ABTV
Shadowhunters.
Steamiest
Steamy-
and
steamiest.
ABTV steamiest. Tell us your steamiest scenes.
And where can everyone find you guys on the interweb?
You can find me everywhere at Mr. Dakota T. Jones.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Becca B Talks TV.
You can find me on Instagram and the interweb at Always Eat Your Cake, and on Twitter and Snapchat at Love Erin Lane.
And you guys can find me, Sam Davidson, at samdavidsonentertainment.com, on Snapchat at samdavidson25, and on Twitter and Instagram at samd43. We will see you guys next week.
Adios.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.